Good Friday afternoon or evening. Victor,
Hey.
you're here. Merry Christmas to
here.
everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Everybody else as well.
Yeah. Everybody that's here with us live, thanks. Again, thanks for hanging out. Obviously, no, I'm not wearing a Santa hat. I couldn't find it. Funny enough, I went out on my walk this morning. Here, let's get this down closer. There, right there. I went out on my walk this morning. It was 10 degrees Celsius.
Above zero.
Yeah, 10
Okay.
Celsius. I got back. An hour and a half later, it was 0 Celsius.
Okay. Now you're forcing me to take a look at the weather in my place.
It was cold. Well, Victor make Darren to dress like Santa. Typically, I would probably have a Santa hat at this point. I think my wife has it downstairs. I just don't know where it is. Chris, Merry Christmas. I can't believe it's 2 days before Christmas. I'm just not. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. And I'm not there physically to force you to wear a Santa's hat, so
No.
I have no influence.
If I had one, I'd wear it, but I'm looking around to see if I have anything that would... No, I've got nothing here. I've got nothing. Oh, you're lowering your desk.
Yep.
There's not much news this week. It seemed like
No?
everybody... Like,
Are you saying that nobody wants to announce big things around Christmas?
all I can say is my Slack was quiet all week. All my RSS feeds were primarily quiet this week. It's just one of those weeks.
There you go. There you go. I expected that everybody will announce like buy two, get third for free or something like that, no?
On Monday, right?
On
That's-
Monday, yeah.
On Monday. You know what? We haven't introduced ourselves. My name's Darren. This over here is Victor. And we're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. Comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern. Noon CET, at least until that crazy time zone changes again. And then on Fridays we do this. Still don't know about next Friday yet. I haven't heard from my friends if they're coming into town, so we may or may not be here next Friday, which would be the day before New Year's Eve, I think. Yes,
It's a Christmas mystery.
it is. But we have to get to this because there's only 2 weeks left to vote. Vote, vote, vote. That's all we'll say about that. Or please vote. I'll ask more politely. Karen, good to see you. Thanks for being here with us on these first couple days before Christmas. I'm really curious to see what's going on, but there's no way I can ask anybody. I have to wait. I have to be patient. Let me fix this here real quick. There we go. The podcast this week was pretty quiet, and hopefully everybody listened to it. It was short. It was like 10 minutes, and that included 2 songs in the 10 minutes. We just did something different this year, just because. I held the editing keys, and I decided this is going to be a short one this year. But the next 2 weeks, next week we look back at 2022, just in case we're not here next Friday. And the week after, the first Wednesday in January, we look ahead and make our predictions for 2023. You may not be very surprised by those. Or maybe you will be. I don't know. So anyway, podcast, Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern. And they will be, again, coming out on Wednesday. We're not missing any podcasts. We may miss some live streams, but not podcasts. Dimitri. Oh, I'm trying to get down to you. Dimitri. Happy holidays. Roberto, 2022 is almost over. What would be the best to learn? You have to wait until January. Whatever the first Wednesday in January is.
First day in January is 1st of January.
No, first. So 1st of January is a Sunday. The first January 1st is a Sunday this year, so it would be 2, 3, 4. January 4th, all your questions will be answered of what you should be learning. But anyway, not much this week, except for this company called AWS or Amazon, depending on how you want to look at it. 2 very interesting EKS specifically Anywhere announcements. I don't know if you saw them
Okay.
this week or not. EKS Anywhere, specifically Anywhere, now fully supports cluster automation via GitOps and AIC tools, such as Terraform.
Okay, that means that they're probably using Cluster API or something like that. I'm guessing.
I'm guessing because so up to this point, where was it? I can't see it. Previously, the only way to do full cluster lifecycle was to use EKS Cuddle, which makes sense, right? Because it did everything for you magically, just not GitOps.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But when we talk about bigger setup, usually EKS Anywhere is not used for somebody to play around with a tiny cluster, kind of demos or hobbies and stuff like that. So it's usually for bigger companies more serious, and then you want some kind of infrastructure as code or variation of it, right? CLI is often not enough for bigger setups.
So now all of this can work. I haven't tried it out yet. But this is only for Anywhere, right? So that's fine, right? If you need to run Anywhere locally or whatever, or self-managed, if you will, because you could, why you would do this, you could run EKS Anywhere on your own EC2 instances. You could.
Yeah, you could, exactly. And it's small correction, it's not that this is only for Anywhere. This is now you can do it with Anywhere as well, because you could use
That's
Terraform and GitOps and what's not with EKS, for example, for a very, very, very long time, right? So it's for Anywhere as well, not only.
Yeah, for you. Okay. Now, when you were speaking there a few moments ago, you were saying this wasn't very good for demos and small things, like I can't remember all the phrasing you used, but you said demos specifically.
Yep.
Well, now you can.
Okay.
Now EKS Anywhere can run like Kind, K3S. What was the old one? I'm forgetting the name of it now.
Minikube?
Minikube.
Yeah. Yeah. Except that probably it will not run in a VM, but directly on OS, right?
Probably. I mean,
it's not Windows or Mac, I guess.
No.
Bare metal, right?
Yeah, the specs to me are a little high. They're not horribly high, but they're a little high. 2, 8, and 25 gig of disk. But,
I'm guessing it's a single node EKS cluster, not stripped down EKS cluster, right?
That's the way I read it, yes.
So that's single node, but it's still we package still the same stuff that we normally package, right? And then that specification makes certain sense. Now, what will be the usage of it? That's a complete mystery, right? Because what you said at the very beginning for a demo, you're still probably not going to spin up a full-fledged EKS Anywhere cluster on a single bare metal node so that you can play with a silly demo application, right? You are going to use Kind or Minikube or whatever you're using for something like that. Or virtual cluster. Hey, big fan of. So, but yeah, there's that option, so why not? Maybe for testing EKS Anywhere, that could be a good...
Exactly. To get used to being able, maybe you're using, going back to the previous window where we can IAC it now, then I want to be able to quickly spin up a true EKS Anywhere cluster, true, quote unquote. This is a true one, right? It's just a single node.
Yeah.
So in theory, when you move from single node to normal Anywhere, or full Anywhere, I guess, everything should be the same.
Yeah. Give or take.
Give or take. So those were the only two big industry announcements I saw this week. And they were sort of like just, oh, by the way type mentions. I thought they were both pretty big because we've been talking about it and people have been talking about it. Not everybody is leaving the cloud. People are still going to the cloud, but there are some people leaving the cloud, right? They are realizing that in order to run something at scale, it's costing them a lot of money. And that lot of money can be spent out of pocket, and they can amortize it instead of having to just write it off as OpEx. So that'll be one of the things in 2023 to really see how many people start pulling back into their own data centers. I think it'll be the rise again of co-hosting facilities or co-location facilities.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's where EKS Anywhere fits, because I don't think that EKS Anywhere was made so that you save money. People will probably go for other solutions. I still see the main purpose of EKS Anywhere to bridge the gap between companies running hybrid, right? Because vast majority of bigger companies are they're experimenting with cloud, they have some things on cloud, but it's never everything. Never. In a huge company, I don't know a single massive company that moved everything to cloud. I mean, I know a few, but those are exceptions.
Yep. I saw this, I believe it was this morning. I saw this in relation to something else I was looking at. Here's the whole backstory of eBay going to OpenTelemetry. They give the full history of how they were doing it. And they have their own internal observability called Sherlock. They go all the way back. They talk about auto-discovery, scraping daemon sets. Can you imagine scraping daemon sets? And then scraping clusters. And they talk through all the way through. It's like, and then we get to OpenTelemetry. So if you want to understand how this works at scale, this is probably a good one to read.
Yeah. There are companies like eBay that do great things, but sometimes I have a feeling that they go crazy with must be built in-house, right? But I'm probably wrong, so.
Well, I mean, they built their own platform. I mean, Sherlock, which, they have a link to. Where is it? There we go. It's at the top.
Okay, I thought that Sherlock is kind of replacement for Prometheus or what's not.
What is, I guess, an upgraded machine learning monitoring system.
Okay, so they're doing advanced stuff probably.
Probably. Look, math. There's lots of math there. It's not only you have this formula, but then you have T, where T is this. Could be interesting. Anyway, if you're interested in OpenTelemetry and trying to understand how eBay's working, that's how it can be done. You've been liking Mermaid a lot. I saw that D2 open sourced these a couple of weeks ago, I think now.
Okay, what is it? Is it Mermaid?
It's Mermaid-like. It's Mermaid-like.
Okay.
So you can draw, and the pictures here are really hard to see. But you can generate it, and it'll obviously generate the thing for you. Do it in a CLI, and it auto renders out for you. I haven't figured it out. It's just there. But then this led me to this. Text-to-diagram.com. And it's comparing all the different tools. So I want to compare how to do D2 to Mermaid. And there's D2 on the left and Mermaid on the right. Which one do I like better?
Nice. That's really cool.
Yep.
I must admit that I have slight level of suffering with Mermaid, but it's worth it still.
Yeah. It also gives you the license, or not necessarily licensing, but features sets. So you can see, okay, this one's MPL, this one's MIT. There's no downloadable CLI for Mermaid, but there is for D2. So
does it work with the GitHub? Is GitHub a word over there? That's kind of almost the most important thing for me.
Are you talking about the embeddable?
Yeah, kind of. You push your stuff as Markdown or whatever, and it just automatically appears.
I'm trying to find the checks over here on Mermaid. I don't think they have a row for that.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
It might work. I don't know. But anyway, that's text-to-diagram.com. I found an old program. I actually ran a video for this for Jenkins. Have you ever seen anything from Gorse? Like Source, Gorse.
I don't know. What is it? First time I hear about it.
First time I heard about it too. The sad thing is, where is it? The most recent version came out 2 years ago. No, it came out this year, 53. So what it will do is you point it at a Git repository or a subversion repository or a Mercurial repository or a handful of other repositories. And it will generate this. I'm going to try to play this and see if it works. So anyway, it builds out the diagram here of all the Git commits. You can see it changing people. As people commit, you can see there are people avatars in this. So those people, those avatars represent, you'll see a name go across. Like I haven't rendered mine out completely. It takes a freaking long time. Like I did just the commits to Jenkins core for 2022 from January 1st until like a week ago or sometime earlier this week, I think. And it was close to 500 gig. And then I took that. Well, that's the raw file, right? That's the raw file, and then I rendered that into a video file, and the video file was still like 8 gig at 1080p.
But you went for Jenkins core.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, that's understandable, man. That's
yeah. It's big. It's big. This is cool. So if you wanted to sort of see if you wanted to do a year in review, the reason, okay, full transparency, the place I saw this was GitLab produced a Gorse video from the beginning of GitLab until this year. It was 2014, I think it was their start date, 2014 till now. It was very interesting. It was very long as well, and they time compressed it. It was still like 10 or 11 minutes. So it's interesting. Like if you've got to show your managers or their managers something, show them, go download Gorse. You're going to need a lot. I was going to say a bad word. You're going to need a lot of disk space, and you're going to want preferably really fast disk. Remember I said I bought the minimum sized Mac Studio? It only has 512 gig of disk.
Not enough, huh?
It wasn't enough, so I have a USB 3 drive attached to it. It was a lot slower, but it worked because it's like a 2 terabyte drive. So I had space to get it done.
Yeah, I guess like anything above 15 minutes stops mattering to me. Kind of like, whether it's 1 hour or 5 hours, I'm going to run it, keep it running overnight, right? So it's either within 15 minutes, then I care whether it's 3 minutes or 15, or maybe half an hour. Anything above that doesn't matter. It's overnight. Or you have a spare machine, kind of like to let it run in the background, right?
Well, that's when I actually let it run the first time on the Mac Studio using the internal SSD. It was fast. I mean, it was really, really fast. When it went out, obviously across USB 3 to a spinning drive, not even SSD, it was much slower, but it still got done in a few hours. It wasn't like I basically set it up and just let it run because, git clone, run Gorse, give it some parameters, and off it went. It does some cool stuff too because it'll bake in logos for you. You can speed it up or slow it down as it's sampling. There's a lot of cool stuff. So anyway, if you need to do a year in review for a project that you're working on for the boss or the boss tree, this could be one of the things you could do for them. And it's
Does it work on org level? It's repo, right?
It's a repository, yeah, because you need to be in, or you need to point it at a repository or be in the repository. Yeah. It assumes that it's in the repository, otherwise you can tell it where the repository is. It would be interesting to do it on an org level. You could probably extend it to do that. I mean, not extend this, but the way I would probably do it is, how would I do it? It would probably get weird. I'd probably dynamically build out a list of the repos in the org and then Gorse each one of those. Now I've turned Gorse into a verb.
I would like one of those, like, give me $5 service. I type the URL of the repo and it responds with, I'll send you an email when it's done type of stuff. That would be awesome.
I've thought about that. I've thought about it, but the licensing on it is a little strange. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, this has been around since 2014. I was like, how have I missed it? or actually that was just 0.41. I mean, it's obviously been out longer than that. The other thing too that was sad is running on the Mac Studio, it was not using the GPU. Actually, no, it was using the GPU. Wait, what happened? I've been doing too many different video things recently. No, this was using the GPU. I've been using Whisper AI, which is the OpenAI AI audio to text engine. It doesn't use the GPU yet. Anyway, Gorse. I could talk about this all day long, but I won't anymore. One more thing, OSV-Scanner, security scanning for your code. So it's a wrapper around the OSV database. Just another security thing. This will be the other thing you'll be hearing a lot about next year is security. Supply chain, SBOM. You're going to be tired of hearing it.
I think I'm already tired of hearing it, but probably you can get more tired.
Yeah. But anyway, that's OSV-Scanner. I play with it a little bit. I'm going to work with it a little bit more over the next week because I've got a couple ideas for this as well. Boom. And one of the other things that we're tired of hearing about is platform engineering.
Exactly. This was a frustration video, to be honest.
Was this before or after the other video you did? The panel video you did?
No. So when I got the notification, hey, you want to attend the panel? Yeah, sure. I like attending panels. What's the subject? DevOps is dead. And I was like, okay. Again. Okay. And then I thought, hey, let me put my thoughts in front of a camera and create my own video, because on that one I was, how do you call it? Not a judge, but coordinator or whatever is the name, right? I wasn't one of the panelists, so I didn't have much freedom to say, this is horrible, right?
You were the moderator, and you had
moderator. That was the word. Yes,
and you have to stay neutral as a moderator.
Yeah,
or
as much as that's
close
possible
to neutral, right? You had
exactly.
a little bit of wiggle.
Yeah. But yeah, TLDR is not dead.
It's not
that's
dead.
The TLDR.
Well, so I was messaging with Victor. What was it, yesterday? I think I was on my walk and couldn't see, so I don't know exactly what I was typing. I know where the keys are on the keyboard, so I'm just trying to land in the right area. I was like, isn't platform... No, I mean, I already know the answer to this, but it was just... I had things going through my head. I was like, isn't platform just an implementation detail of DevOps?
I would call it enabler.
Yeah.
Right, kind of, if you want people to be able to do stuff by themselves, kind of, hey, I want to define my application, right? And I don't want to spend 7 years learning Kubernetes. You need to facilitate that somehow, to enable it, right? And that's what you typically do with internal platforms. So, enabler.
Right. The actual question I asked, because I just made up another question, was, is platform engineering basically the productization of DevOps? And it's like, no, what you just said is correct. It's the enabler of DevOps.
I feel like enabler would be a better explanation, yeah.
Well, DevOps was, we were figuring out what to do manually. Platform engineering gets us to making that a little more standardized.
Yeah, and it can still be as manual or automated as you want, right? To me, it's not that much whether it's automated or manual. It's kind of, hey, this is how you define your application to run in Kubernetes based on some input that you provide, right? Is it stateful or stateless or this or that, right? And spits out manifests or spits out custom resource or whatever, right? And that applies for almost anything else, right? And could be manual, right? Let's say, hey, this is how you create a bootstrapped GitHub repository, right? It's not really automated. You need to click some button somewhere, unless, or we can call that automation as well, right? But yeah.
DevOps is not dead. It's just not. So that's the show.
That's the show.
That's all we've got this week. We go back over here. Maz, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. See if there's anything else. Yeah, I tend to agree with Moz. EKS Anywhere is used a lot by banks and whatever. Because if they get comfortable with EKS Anywhere at the point that they can actually go cloud, that's where they're going to go. That's the answer.
The goal is, I'm pretty sure the goal is transition full or part or fraction of workloads to EKS, right? That's the goal.
Yeah.
I think that if we remove that as the objective, then why EKS Anywhere, right? Kind of why not OpenShift or VMware, right? That's the value that EKS Anywhere provides compared to competition on-prem.
Well, and at reInvent, weren't there announcements around Red Hat, or not necessarily Red Hat, but OpenShift and AWS doing so? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think
something. I know that there was something in that direction, but I did not really follow up.
Well, I think regardless, AWS is doing the right thing in both of those sides because, okay, if you wanted to just stick with AWS, now here's a way for transition whenever you're ready. If you're already all in on Red Hat, now it's whenever you're ready. We'll help you out on OpenShift. I don't see that level of support from the other two. Right?
Yeah.
Or that frenemy conversation that we're having, that AWS seems to be having everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it depends really how you look at it. If you look at it from the perspective of comparing it not with OpenShift or what's not, but with Azure and Google, I would say that AWS is more closed, right? Less inviting to competition or others, for good or bad.
Right. Unless you play by the rules.
Yeah.
Like Red Hat appears to be doing, which
Exactly.
That's fine. Okay. So this is a short one because not a lot of news, and I didn't even bring my drink today. It's almost holiday time. That's all I can think.
There we go.
Anything else?
It's okay. No, maybe a question kind of. I started releasing those shorts.
The shorts.
If anybody saw them, kind of, and because I'm not sure whether I should. I'm experimenting whether this is something useful or no and things like that. So I'm going to run it probably for a couple of more shorts and then shut it down or keep it. So any comment on that in the DevOps Toolkit? Actually, in both channels, you've been releasing it here as well, right?
We just started doing shorts for this show.
Yeah.
This past week. And so I'll be definitely doing shorts on YouTube for this show. Once I start editing, or whenever I do the next podcast edit, which will probably be next week. I'm not going to do anything this weekend. I'm going to start doing short, just like how I have on the socials for Twitter and LinkedIn, there will be shorts coming out on YouTube as well. And the basic numbers that I saw first day, I'll say what the numbers are for the two that we did last Monday and Tuesday. In the first 24 hours, we had like 400 views on each one of them. Which for the very first time, it's like, okay, that's great. You know, because I don't have a baseline, so I don't mind saying what it is. All right, here I got to put this one up. Thanks to TikTok, my attention span is very low. There's a reason why I have never installed TikTok. You remember Doom, right? The game, the first-person shooter.
Yeah,
Doom?
exactly.
Do you remember when it was shareware? You were probably a teenager when the shareware came out.
Yeah.
So that's the only version of Doom I ever played on a 286. And I would play for 8 or 9 hours a day. That's why I don't play games. That's why I don't do things like TikTok. I try to stay off of all the other socials as much as I can because that's just a bad place for me to go.
So I never use TikTok beyond occasionally with my daughter when she's watching, right? Never on my devices, right? But a few days ago, I stumbled upon some short on YouTube, and then it showed me the second short and the third short, and then like 1 hour later, it kind of, what happened?
Where did my hour go?
What happened to me? Kind of exactly. Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
It's so addictive, man. And if you ask me, what did you see in that hour?
You have
And
no
that
idea.
hour is like 80. Let's say that's slightly below minute on average. 80 videos. I have no idea. I cannot tell you what I saw.
That's the danger to me. It's just like I'll go off somewhere else and be like, okay, what did I just do?
And here's the thing. I watch too much YouTube, right? Normal videos. But I watch them in a background, right? While I'm working up,
Yeah.
I let it play. And occasionally I might kind of, catches my attention. But it's almost like
Right.
a background noise, right? This you cannot put in a background, man.
Because you know it's going to be
It's-
over in at most a minute.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so I'm definitely going to be doing more I'm going to start doing 5 days a week of shorts on DevOps Paradox. You're doing one a day right now, right? On DevOps Toolkit?
3 a week. So
3 a week. Okay.
no Monday, no Thursday because of the video and AMA.
Right. So you're filling in, and then all I'm doing is I'm adding shorts on top of what I was already doing on socials. So it's just a third social channel from this
Yep.
perspective. So it's just lots of work. But hey, that's what we want to do for you, our listeners and viewers. It's not that much. It actually isn't that much more work because the editing tool I use actually makes it pretty simple to do. But since it's new to me, now it's taking time to, okay, how do I get this into my normal workflow? Once I have that figured out, it won't be a big deal. And actually what I'll do is, like for the ones for the podcast, I'm going to turn all the old square ones into the portraits. So all of them are going to be that look and feel from now on. Oh, thanks, Ingun. I hope the way that we edit and get stuff out to you, that's on both channels, helps you be able to retain, unlike what Victor was just talking about, coming back an hour later, like what did I just do? Hopefully you're able to consume what we do. And remember maybe 5 seconds of it, that would be good. We try to. But anyway, all right. Is that it? Or we're just going to walk away and say Merry Christmas and be done?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus. What else is going on now? And then just in case we're not back next week, Happy New Year. But again,
Exactly.
I probably won't know until Wednesday. So regardless, on Thursday I'll send out a notification on the socials, whether we're doing a show or not. I will remember to do it this time. Oh wait, this is a new one. Happy Jewel Fest. Do you know that one? I don't know.
Yeah,
that one.
I studied
That
archaeology and within that mythology and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. Do we have silver gold awards? No. That's based on
100K.
that's subscribers.
Yeah.
So Victor will get there way before this channel gets there. This channel, we've got 2,900, I think. And you're right now at 34,000?
40 closer. Almost
40K. Okay.
Yeah. But it's, kind of, even on that one, the bigger channel, getting to 100K is close to impossible because it's not much of beginner material. So it's a almost niche audience, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's not a business.
No. Not yet. When it turns 100, maybe. Anyway, thanks everybody. Have a great holiday time. If you get any time off, go take it off. I'm trying to. It's hard. I'm trying to figure out how to. Do you understand? Like if you go under Apple, you can actually go and click shutdown. Did you know that?
I did click sleep 3 or 4 times in my life. Shut down, never.
Yeah.
I never shut down any of my computers on any operating system, I think.
A little behind baseball right now. I was getting set up for today. I was like, my computer's not on. I don't see my computer. Where's my computer? Then I realized, oh wait, my daughter and son-in-law came into town, and they're in my studio. They're sleeping in my studio. So I'd powered everything off because light, sound, even the M1 still makes a little bit of a sound.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd powered everything. It's like, oh, right. Yeah, I forgot. I powered it all down. Powered it back up. Everything showed back up. So then the show was able to go on. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And again, if we don't see you next week, Happy New Year. If we do see you next week, then we'll say Happy New Year again. Right? Because that's just what we do. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.